Hi, I'm Gavin, and welcome back to the S.O.U.N.D Project. Today we get the pleasure of sitting down with Ben Barter. Thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're out in L.A., Anaheim, out close to where you live, and I appreciate you coming over and doing this.
No worries. Thanks.
Yeah, and I wanted to maybe start a little bit, just letting the audience know, your background. What do you do?
Yeah, well, I'm a drummer. I've been touring, playing probably like full time for the last since 2013. So about the last 12 years. I've been going at it full time. I tour with a few different people, but the main artist that I've kind of been the longest with is amazing New Zealand artist called Lord.
Yeah.
Super fortunate to be able to drum for her. And then a few other people lately. I've been doing a lot with another amazing artist, Sky Ferreira.
Yeah.
Who's I'm a big
great.
fan. Yeah, she's amazing. So yeah. And then in between I've kind of been slowly building recording equipment and gear and working out different rooms, and this last year and a half I've been building a space in my garage, which you've helped me with.
Yeah.
Super exciting to have that done. So
it was really fun when I got the email from you, because I thought it was interesting because you got our information from Andrew Marshall.
Yeah, right. I forget. I was trying to think of how I discovered
Yeah,
you.
so Andrew's Billie Eilish's drummer, and we were working with him on a project, and I was surprised to find out that he's like, we have sometimes group text threads of a bunch of drummers in LA that we all talk. And
our area there's a lot of drummers.
Yeah,
good drummers, like Drummers Row. Yeah,
and he said I think he said that you put out a question like, "Hey, I'm thinking about building the studio. Anybody got anybody to help with it?" And
sweet,
that was us. So
cool.
yeah,
oh, well,
and one of the things about your project that is was really fun is that you decided to build almost everything yourself.
Yeah, mostly to save money. I think it would have cost it cost probably a quarter of the price, I reckon, if I built it myself.
For sure.
With labor and whatnot. And I had a lot of time, I was between touring. I have a background. I studied architecture before I was drumming. I worked as an architect for about 7 years full time. So that made it a lot easier to be able to kind of have the confidence to start stuff. Yeah. Even though it was a lot of jobs was scary to start, but YouTube, honestly, you can just do anything with YouTube these days. So, yeah. And
I thought that was cool because anytime you're building it yourself, I mean, you're able to do it at your own pace. But then also, I know you had was it father-in-law or your father in town?
My dad, he would come over. I am not organized. I'm not an organized person at all. I'm so messy. And so as I was building the piles of building, trash would just slowly build and get higher and higher. And then my dad would come in, would hire a skip, and he would just empty it. It was incredible. It was so helpful. Yeah. So we'd fill up these skips, and it was just very it's an amazing way for your dad to help. Do the stuff that you don't really want to do, but it takes real time consuming. So that was really nice. So he helped me. And then I had a couple of friends here and there, I put in a new ridge beam so I could vault the ceiling.
That was a big day. Yeah.
Big day. And it was a little, it's one of those jobs where you kind of got to throw caution to the wind a bit to get it done, but no one was hurt. And so I had a couple of friend and neighbor help me with that, get into place. And then some rolling insulation in the ceiling, a friend helped me with that. So I had a couple of, in the tricky jobs, but there were moments on my own where I was, there's one point I had a massive piece of jibboard, do you call it jibboard?
Drywall, yeah.
Drywall, and I was up on a ladder, and then I was trying to get it into this corner. I couldn't quite do it, and I was really stuck for a couple of minutes holding this very heavy piece. And so there's a couple of hairy moments where that drywall is not light. So, but I got it done. Yeah. And I really enjoyed it. It was really fun.
Yeah, I think it's cool too when you do a lot of it yourself, is that you just learn so much about what it takes to build a studio, and not that maybe you want to do it again, but
I think I would. Yeah, it was really fun doing it. If I was doing it for myself, I think I would do it. And and I've learned so much. I'm really happy with the outcome. There's a few minor things that I'd do differently, but it was really fun process building. Yeah, it was nice to use that side of my brain again.
Right. Yeah, the architecture piece. I mean, I know that when you contacted me, you had mentioned that you had that background in architecture and that you just needed some guidance, but you didn't need sometimes people don't want to do any of that themselves. And it's like, you do all of the design and we'll follow it. But you had studied a lot already on acoustics.
Yeah. Well, I read a few books, and watched a lot of videos and forums, and I really enjoy that investigating part of it. The problem solving. So I had a little bit of knowledge and enough to know that I could really mess it up if I didn't do that initial layout.
Sure.
And not do the isolation part right, which is where you came in, and it was super helpful. Just going in with the confidence that, all right, this room shape is going to work well in the long run. I'm not going to regret anything, too much. And the rest of it kind of, basically you helped me up until the bass trapping.
Yes.
And having enough bass trapping in the room to do what it needs to do. And then it was really fun doing the rest of the treatment, from there on and kind of tuning it to how live I wanted it for the drums, or I kind of wanted it to be a mixing, somewhere we can mix as well. So there's a position where it's nice and symmetrical for mixing, as well as the whole room is also kind of not symmetrical, which is nice for drums.
Sure.
So as long as I had that initial layout and the isolation sorted in the bass trapping, from then on I can kind of keep
tweak it as you want.
That's the stuff I didn't want to get wrong. So you were super helpful. Thank you.
I know early on we were with the isolation being so important because you're in a residential area, and so we started doing some models and giving some sound samples of like, hey, this is what you'd expect if you did this, and kind of tweaking the design as we go. So that we find that's just a helpful process, because you can talk about STC numbers until you're blue in the face, but it's like, what's really going on here? Let's hear it.
It worked really well. Yeah. And now I can drum at, all through the night at any hour, and it's fine. That it's, maybe if the neighbors outside, it might hear like sound like someone's watching like a TV inside, but it wouldn't annoy anyone at any point.
Great.
And most importantly, it blocks. We live on a busy street and use a lot of traffic noise and trains, and the neighbor's a drummer and he just drums in his garage.
So he doesn't
stops the outside from coming in, which is recording drums is what you need. So it worked really well. Thank you.
Good. All right.
Great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was nice.
And then the layout, we wanted to, again, kind of shape that mixed position, make it symmetrical, have that little kind of alcove where you mostly set up the drums back in that.
I put the drums in the alcove now. Yeah. It kind of, like so many drums are recorded in booths, in tight little booths. Yeah. And really, if they're in the middle of a big room, the room needs to be pretty big to get that room, utilize that room sound like really big and huge.
Sure.
To make the most of that. But anything in between, you can kind of like use, we were talking about before, use room emulators. It's so good, the software. And so it's just the perfect size to get a nice tight drum. The room's just big enough to get nice sounding room mics on the other side of the room. So you do get a really quality room mic. But then the room's not bleeding into the overheads all the time, which can happen. Yeah. So it's
that's great. And you do do you do a lot of session work when you're not on tour then?
Yeah. It's always the struggle. Like I'll find I'll build momentum when I've got time off and have a bunch of session stuff going, repeat customers, and then I have to go on tour again for like a year and a half, back and forth, and that momentum kind of goes down. So it's a kind of the trying to work out the balance of kind of keeping that momentum going and going away. But it makes the studio at home makes it a lot easier because I can kind of
once you get back you can just jump right back into it.
And do things a bit quicker. And
that's great. Do you enjoy the touring life? Is that a thing you like?
I love it. I mean, I've been very fortunate to tour with mostly people I really enjoy and get looked after really well. There's been a few tours the older I get where I'm like, oh, I think I'm getting a bit old for this, or so I'm really lucky to have a tour that kind of takes care of me. They really value me, and that's really exciting. And I love traveling and seeing other cities, and we have a beautiful crew, and the couple of tours I enjoyed, really enjoy the people I tour with.
That's good. I think that's the majority of it. It's almost like anything in life you do. It's like, if I go to play golf with someone, it's like the people that I'm there with is more important than what I'm doing.
I think the older you get, the more it becomes important, and you really want to steer yourself on that. Towards that direction.
So I kind of want to go back a little bit in how did you decide to want to be a drummer? Like growing up, like was that always a thing, or?
Yeah, I don't ever really remember like choosing it. I was just hitting pots and pans. My parents got me a drum kit when I was around 5. So my parents were musicians. My dad played bass and my mum sang. We had a family jazz band.
Cool.
Called Espresso Jazz.
Nice.
And we had a regular gig in Borders bookstore in the travel section. Under the escalator. A lot of Gershon jazz standards. Jazz is a stretch. Especially for me. I was really into Travis Barker. Still am an incredible drummer. But, I was like learning, like memorizing Blink-182 songs, but then like would play like try and play this jazz. And most of it I remember is just being told to quieten it down, and that was most of my memories. So that was really, I had like really supportive family. But I feel really fortunate to have something that I love to do, like, and not I've ever had to really think about it. I've just always had that drive to drum. So I'm really fortunate that I found something that younger on.
The how did you end up working your way to be Lord's drummer, for instance?
I was drumming in a lot of I had like bands in New Zealand. One band, we had a manager who he started out managing on the management team for her when she had initially a New Zealand manager. I also knew Joe Little, the producer. Our bands would play like little like pop punk shows together. He was in a sick band called Goodnight Nurse. Again, like quite Blink-182. And so we knew each other, and they're kind of saying, we're working with this artist, Lord. She's really great. And I was like, if she needs a drummer, I'll be down. Like, all right. And initially, like, there was, wasn't sure if I was going to get it. And then I got called for the auditions, and New Zealand's so small, I was auditioning against like 3 of my friends, and so it was a little awkward, but I managed to get it, and
How long ago was that when you started doing that?
That was 2013. That's when we kicked off. The first show was in 2013.
And are you doing obviously all the live shows, but do you record with her as well?
Just the live stuff. One day I'd love to. I gotta pay my dues, and it'll be awesome. But we'll see. The thing with she works with incredible producers, and you really gotta they have their own workflow and the own people that they use. So the live drums that have ended up on the albums are incredible. Like the last album was Matt Chamberlain, who's my he's my favorite drummer. I really respect what he does. So it was incredible getting to play his parts and recreate those in his tones, and kind of do a deep dive into his drumming.
That's got to be an interesting thing. I haven't really thought about that. Is that when you're not the one on the recording, you have to learn their parts and like how they, because there's some songs are just so like iconic that it's like people want to hear exactly what was on the record. It's a really fun little like exercise, trying to match his feel and dynamic and the tone, and then getting the stems as well, and hearing like what the mics, how they sounded, like his mic sounded in his room, and like the decisions. It was really fascinating. That's cool.
I learned a lot. I really enjoyed that process.
How much time do you guys spend rehearsing for like a big tour like that? Is that a long process?
Yeah, it kind of seems to change, but yeah, a couple of weeks. I mean, I spend a long time like learning the songs, get my head around the songs. But yeah, I would say like a week, a couple of weeks, a week, maybe longer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
How long does it take?
It changes. Yeah. It kind of goes in stages too, you know, because you'll get ready for like some promo or whatever, and it'll be your first couple of songs that come out first. So you learn those, and then for like a main tour, you know, you'll be learning the rest of the album, and then finishing that. So you're kind of like getting ready in stages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy like what kind of shows do you enjoy? Do you like the festivals, or do you like the?
I love festivals.
Okay.
Yeah, I love festivals. I love outdoor stages, outdoor festivals. My favorite situation is an outdoor festival where you can see water, a body of water.
Okay, there you go.
That's my favorite. My favorite place to play.
What is your favorite festival you played?
We had Primavera in Barcelona is amazing. That's one of those water scenarios. We did Glastonbury. We've done it once or twice, maybe twice. I think we did it twice. The last Glastonbury show was really fun. I was surprisingly relaxed, and the show went well. The Glastonbury, that main pyramid stage, whatever it is. A lot of those festival stages, because they're kind of enclosed, it kind of does this like natural compression or something, a focus. So the stages have their own sound. It's really, and the Glastonbury one's really interesting. It's got the snare's got this really nice thwack.
Now with that, because you play with in-ears, I assume, and so you can still hear that though. Plus, do you hear any like the slapback? I hear that a lot at festivals, like a big building somewhere far away. That's
a little bit. Yeah, I've had that. It can get confusing. The hard part about the slapback is the low end when so I've had moments where we'll do like an award show, say, and there's one in particular, and we were set up in the middle of the arena. Okay. And that was really hard. Yeah. Especially with the kick. So every time I hit the kick, the sub would hit like slightly after. So that was a real mental marathon, trying to like keep the feel rhythm, and the time when the kicks like delayed. I've got I use one of the Porter and Davies like drum throw on.
Oh sure,
butt kickers, and that's been a game changer.
Oh, that helps a lot.
Kind of have it right there, and it's really consistent. For
nice.
Sure. But that the low end can be, when it's slapped back with the low end, is really hard, and if the subs are kind of in a funny way, placing the stage,
what do you have planned coming up? Like, I know you got the studio finished now, which is really awesome. Yeah. You doing a lot of recording in there? Yeah,
I've been recording a bunch for different producer friends, and it's sounding really good. Everyone's stoked. Been working on my own music. It's like very naive. I really like electro, like kind of house electronic music.
Okay.
So I've been
nice.
Being like, I have a bunch of synths in there and stuff. I'm like very much a novice, but I really enjoy it.
Is that instrumental, or are there vocals with it?
Instrumental. There's like vocal samples, but not vocals in the traditional sense. Yeah. So yeah, I've been like mixing that at the moment.
Nice.
It's been really fun. And
I always thought that was as a drummer, if you're already a drummer. Because it's hard for me to do any of my own music besides just acoustic demos, because I max out at 3 things. I can strum, form chords, and sing. Yeah. But you add the 4th thing in that you have for drumming, and I tap out. Like I can't.
Like the 4th thing is
well, you have 2 feet and both arms. That it just doesn't work for me. I can't keep a beat. Yeah. So I'm always like envious of people that can do that. But yeah, if you can do the drumming and be able to do the synth things on top of it,
not at the same time,
right? Of course,
there are people that can do that.
Yeah, I'm sure, but they're on another level.
Totally. Yeah, the synth stuff is really, it's just turning knobs until it sounds like. And I've done like online synth courses where I kind of learn about different what all the different knobs do and stuff. So somewhat know what I'm doing, but I think that's the fun part about it is you don't really know what it's going to do. It's not predictable. Like the drums are pretty predictable, right? So I really enjoy kind of artistry of like discovering new sounds and trying to emulate stuff I like.
For your own music, do you have aspirations to release that, or is it just for your own personal
Yeah, I released a little, I've got very low key like listenership on Spotify. So I release like little EPs here and there when I have the time. But yeah, I really enjoy it. It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's very much a like a passion, little self-passion thing that I'm not like, it's not like my main thing. It'll be fun if it was, but I'm very realistic.
Yeah,
about
awesome.
the state of the music industry.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you got tours coming up? Things that you got?
Yeah, later this year, I'm sure at some point Lord will kick off again. We've not heard any solo plans yet, but that will happen at some point. Her fourth record. Super excited to hear what she's been working on. And those tours usually go for like a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
Back and forth, different trips.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. And just keeping on. It's having a nice room now. I can finally hear what my like preamps sound like, or what my compressor sounds like, or what the different mics sound like properly. So now I'm like in an exploration period of just like exploring my gear and like having a nice room to do it in, and so just learning how to record drums better. And
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm so excited for you because I know that it was so much work going into making it happen. Because it's not just if someone hires a contractor, you maybe have to project manage it a little bit, but you did all the labor yourself, and it's got to be rewarding. But when I seen on Instagram when you post new things, like, oh man, it's finished.
It's done.
You're here.
Yeah,
so
it's amazing. Yeah, I remember putting out the last panel and like audibly giving myself like a congrats.
Yeah, a little pat on the back.
Yeah, you did it. Like, you finished the studio. Like,
that's so great.
Did some naughty words. I was like, it's great.
That's great. Well, I also appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and do this.
Thank you so much for helping me.
It's been really fun getting to know you while we've been working on this.
It's been really fun chat. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah, thanks for being so generous with your time and
of course.
Helping me. Yeah, highly recommend.
All right.
People using you.
Thanks so much. Well, that's been another episode of the S.O.U.N.D Project. Thanks for being a part of it. I'm curious if you have a favorite festival that you've attended. Comment that below, and we'll see you next week.